You're watching The Business of Law, brought to you by Bloomberg Law and the ABA Journal. I'm Lee Pacchia. Special guest today, we have Aric Press, Editor-in-Chief at American Lawyer Media. Welcome. So good to have you here.
Nice to be here, Lee.
You've been watching big law for an awfully long time. Tell me, do you think the legal profession is on the mend? It's been an awfully rough go of things for the last 5 years or so.
Well, I think the legal profession is the legal marketplace is a complex entity. Parts of it have recovered, parts of it haven't. You can say that about any individual law firm. You can walk through the halls of virtually any major law firm that you can name, and you will find people busier than they've ever been, and others down the hall twiddling their thumbs.
Yeah, you mentioned the complexity, and it's true. When we talk about the legal profession, it's a really diverse bucket to put a lot of things in. Yet at the same time, it's really hard to get a feel for where the profession is today. It's much harder than, say, looking at companies operating in the coal mining space. What makes the legal business, from an analytics standpoint, so hard to break down? We keep seeing new stories about new metrics that are important to look at, new ways to report on the health or the disease of various firms. What to make of this kind of convoluted approach?
Well, I mean, in some respects, the legal business is really quite a simple business. You have clients, you serve your clients, you serve them well, you bill them, and hopefully you get paid. There aren't complicated supply chains. They're relatively small organizations. The biggest organizations now are a couple $2 billion in revenue and several thousand employees. These are not vast empires. There are some pretty good metrics. We produce most of them that are quite reliable. The AmLaw 100 and 200 financial figures, net operating income, profits per partner, revenue per lawyer. Those have stood the test of time. I don't know that we need to reinvent those wheels.
Now, you recently announced a partnership with Time Metrics to publish quarterly reports on how law firm clients are purchasing legal services. Right. Can you tell us a little bit about the report and how it's put together?
Yes, absolutely. Time Metrics is one of the giant e-billing and matter management houses. They happen to be based out of Connecticut. They represent some, I don't actually know how many clients they have at this point, but they have had a consistent group of 70 large corporate clients that they have access, because they handle their billings, they have access to their complete billing reports. So what they've done is prepare a sort of index, not a sort of, an actual index that allows us to look at the buying habits of 70 corporate clients, 20 in the Fortune 100, another 12 in the Fortune 1000.
So rather relying on law firms reporting what they're doing and what they're seeing, you're going on the other side of the equation and seeing what clients are actually purchasing.
This isn't a survey of law firms. These are checks cut, dollars paid by clients. I thought that would be a kind of powerful demonstrative evidence.
One of the things that stood out in the latest round of numbers is that demand and billing rates seem to be going in opposite directions. Demand is down, yet rates are up. To put it another way, clients are actually buying fewer hours, yet paying more for the hours that they purchase.
On average, that's exactly right.
Why is that? That strikes me as such an unusual
Well, every year
trend.
Law firms increase their rates. So many law firms increase their rates, and a fair number of clients will pay them for work that they find necessary. Some work they don't find necessary, they don't ask to have done anymore, or they demand discounts, and they get discounts. But the discount game is also a fairly simple one. If you ask for a 10% discount and your rates have gone up by 5%, you're going to end up paying more year over year.
Yeah, the economics, though, still would at least appear to me that in a world where there are fewer clients that want to get as many hours as they used to in the past, then in order to get the work, law firms would offer their services at a lower price.
Well, for some law firms offer some services at lower prices. But to make a medical analogy, if you need a heart operation, you need a heart operation, and you're not going to delay it. If you need a critical piece of legal work done, you're going to have it done without a lot of negotiating about cost. If what you need is a little bit of cosmetic surgery or something else that's optional, you might demand a serious discount, or you might go shopping. The legal marketplace is complicated in the sense of there are different people playing at different levels. And clients have finally, and I suspect that many have always known this, are finally trying to apply the right purchase for the right task. The old days of where you go to your general service firm and pay whatever the billing rate is across the board, that seems to be over. But if you need a critical piece of work or an important piece of work done, you're willing to pay for it. The evidence from time metrics and everything else that I've seen is that law firms can charge high rates for important pieces of work. What seems to be changing is that law firms are having a much greater problem charging the most premium rates for work that isn't premium work.
Right, the commodity work.
Well, not necessarily commodity work, even just important operational work. There's a wide gradation of work between commodity and high-end premium. And we're watching, you and I both, as clients try to figure out how to set the targets, and law firms respond.
Demand was particularly weak for New York-based corporate practices, and that's a big problem for big law. Are you seeing any forward-looking indication on where this crucial part of the market is going to be heading in the near term?
Well, every morning, if I could afford it, I would turn on my Bloomberg terminal, but I can't. So I'm reduced to looking at the front pages of the Journal and the Times to see if there are new deals being announced. Law firms, as you know, they're in the service business. They can't generate corporate work. To the degree that deals are happening, law firms will do better. To the degree that deals are not, law firms will have problems.
So in experiencing this weakened demand for the corporate work, particularly among the New York-based shops, how do you see them making up the difference in the meantime? Is it a matter of just treading water, or is there things that they can do to kind of ameliorate the effects?
Well, for one thing, it's a one-quarter snapshot. This is the first time we've done the index. We're going to watch carefully going forward to see if that trough continues. For another, we learned through various cycles that lawyers are somewhat fungible. The M&A lawyer today can do a restructuring tomorrow. That's not a quarterly toggle switch, but over time it happens, and it happens in lots of firms. If this trough continues, there will be some shaking out of personnel.
Right. No, and we certainly thought that at the beginning of 2013 that we were going to see more and more Dewey and LaBeouf situations, but to be honest, we haven't really seen that materialize yet. Is that something that you expect to happen, as we near the end of 2013, or is that
major law firms?
Did we just have it wrong?
I suspect you had it wrong. Major law. You're only human. Don't take it too.
It wasn't me. It was my guess.
Right.
I'm just the messenger.
Exactly. It's very hard for one of the major law firms to die. Clearly not impossible. It needs a combination of really bad luck, some business downturns, and terrible leadership. If you look across the board at the law firms, the major law firms that have died over the last decade, you'll see almost without exception that all three were present.
Yeah, interesting. Aric, thank you so much for stopping by.
Pleasure, Lee.
That's Aric Press from ALM. If you'd like to learn more about the cases and issues we just discussed, be sure to go check out our offerings on BloombergLaw.com and also on the Bloomberg Terminal. You can see more of our videos on YouTube, and you can follow our updates, of course, on Twitter. I'm Pacchia. Thanks for watching.